I have a reading from Leslie Takahashi. It's called Immortality. In the daily weave of our lives, those who have died are still strong, guiding threads. Theirs is the golden glimmer, or perhaps the brilliant red, or the melancholy blue. Still, they are part of the whole cloth of our lives. They are the ancestors, the goers before. Through this, we know immortality. In the hour-to-hour rush of our daily tasks, they travel with us through something they taught us, which is now ours to do, through something they loved, which is now ours to carry out, through something we shared, which is now ours alone, and yet not. Through this, we know immortality. In the minute-to-minute grasp of where we are, we remember the joys our departed gave us, which opened us up to hope, the sorrows we knew together, which taught us strength, the life shared, which is now ours to steward. Through this, we know immortality. In the second-to-second pulse of life, we sense the spirit of those we have loved and lost. This presence is too shy for naming, too amorphous for full knowing, and yet as real as the days we shared. Through this, we know immortality. They are more than remembered, they are memory itself. For what we love lives on, in the way our beloved dead accompany us through our life, their words and wisdom our guide, their humor our relief, their restless concern for the world our charge. Through this, we know immortality. UUCLC has had an annual tradition of attaching the name tags of members of our congregation who have died to our banner. During COVID, we were unable to meet in person. We learned how to use Zoom, and we're happy we did. But during that period, some practices, like the memorial, slipped away. We're taking this opportunity to renew our tradition of honoring departed members and attaching their names to the memorial banner. Today, we will recognize 18 members who died between 21 and now. 7 of these people have partners who are current members. Those partners will be placing the names of their loved ones on the banner. Before they do, let me read the names of the 11 members whose name tags are already on the banner. Many of you will remember some or all of these members. They're in alpha order, and maybe you can point to the names if you can find them. Connie Sanford. Connie Sanford died in 2021. She lived in Lakeport Square. Lois Sanford died in 2023. She also lived in Lakeport Square. They were not related. Ernie Rossi died in 2023. Rossi, there he is. Yeah. He lived in Leesburg with his wife, Jenna. Glenn Bryan died in 2024. He lived in Leesburg. Bryan, okay, thank you. With his wife, Karen. Joe Sorolla died in 2024, and he lived in Waterman Village. Pat Barton died in 2024, and she had moved out of state. Phyllis Gillette died in 2024. She was a charter member of UUCLC. Lois Fisher died in 2025 and lived in Eustis. Jeannie Morgan died in 2025 and had moved out of state. Ted Fessler died recently. He died in 2026 and lived in Waterman Village. Frank Bishop died in 2026 and had also moved out of state. Let's take just a moment as I invite the current members, and Paul Kennedy is not here today. So there are 6 current members who are the partners of recently departed members. Claudia Marshall, please. Patty Steiner. I'm going to ask you to sit down on the seats here. And then I'm going to give you your name tags and ask you to put them in the spots that we have. So it's Claudia, Patty Steiner, Russ Littlefield, Bill Herman, Bernie Greenberg, Wendy Pasek. And ask you to sit, and then I'm going to give you your name tags and ask you to put them up. Here's Jay. Here's Carl. Here's June. Here's Denny. Where's Bill? You can sit in the end one.
Or you can take a seat here.
Yeah.
Take a seat here.
You can take the pink little tags off. Okay. It's a bit of a process. Okay, we're going to do this in date order. So I'm going to ask Claudia to come up and put Jay Marshall's name tag on. He died in 2020, and then once you do that, perhaps you'd like to say something. There's a little spot there, and you're going to have to push pretty hard. Oops. I know there's a way to make this.
Oh, I'll get it, Chris.
Just push it down.
Yeah.
One side.
Okay. You got it.
I
You-
know, I didn't.
No. Do you want to say something, Claudia? You don't.
Jay was.
Here. Come
Jay.
here. Let me give you a hug and you can do it.
I just wanted to say how glad Jay was to have this church here, to have like-minded people to come to church with. And we appreciate all of you.
Thanks, Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia. Patty Steiner, as you all know, is a charter member, and if you would come up next. And I thought
Yes.
it would fit right there.
Okay, let me see. Use my hands.
I'll help you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Carl really enjoyed the conversations and, before the service. And he was always a very active member. But like I say, he went ahead and was not well, so he couldn't come. But he was always thinking about UU, and sometimes we'd meet across with Bill. and everything. He did a lot of volunteer work.
Absolutely.
And at thrift stores, so working there. But, and some of the members would come and visit him there. But, thank you.
Just real quick, I still have a Buddha that he gave me from the thrift store.
And I did bring a bag, 2 bags. There's some of the books there and some DVDs. Even Frank Bishop loaned him a book, and
Oh,
Henry
my.
Gray. So they're back there, but to go for the library.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Okay. Russ Littlefield for June Sweeten, who died in 2022. Did it work?
Yep.
Okay.
Good job.
Well, June was a remarkable woman. She lived with me for 6 years. And we were both members here and did a number of things together here. One story to tell you about, June was a nurse. She went to Bellevue Hospital to get us under her nurse's certification in New York City. And I got a call not so long ago, I think it was about a year ago, from someone that was in her class and said, the minute she came into the room, everyone knew she was the brightest person.
Thank you.
Bill Herman for Kit Tatum. She died in 2022.
Kit was a woman for all seasons and had been a Unitarian for 60 years, for all various places around the country. And I was fortunate enough to share 6 years with her as a domestic partner. And some of you may realize that the portico out there that has that nice service that goes in memory of her. And also, she had a beautiful soprano voice. Thank you.
She organized our singing efforts. And Bernie for Janine Reagan, who died in 2024. Bernie. Let me put her tag here.
You know, this is not easy for me to do. So many memories that are very precious to me. And the biggest thing for me was that Janine could make you calm. She could turn whatever problem you had and help you become calm. And right now, right in the corner of the facility, there is a garden that's named in her honor. The garden.
Janine's Calm Place. Wendy for Denny Libby, who died in 2025.
I brought Denny with me today. Just later on in the month, it'll be 1 year since he died. And I miss him, but I'm so glad I'm here. We're here, I'm here because of Denny. When we got married, we weren't going to church at all, and we didn't get married in a church. We got married on the Appalachian Trail. And we didn't walk into a church until we came here, and we came here because of Janine and Bernie. And Denny said, let's go there. You know, I was like, I don't need a religion. I don't need I had a 12-step. I thought that was enough religion. And Denny had a 12-step, but he still wanted to come here. And we knew, we found Janine and Bernie because Bernie had a coexist sticker on his golf cart. And so we live in the same retirement community, and I thought, that's going to be a person we're going to like. And so they introduced us to the church, and Denny wanted to come, so I'm really glad because I'm here and I love you all, and you know, you're a big part of my life.
So that's our 6 partners who are here, and Paul Kennedy had a memorial service for Brenda Woodward when she died in February of this year. I was away and wasn't able to be here, but many of you were. They had been attending for, I think, about a year, and I have her name tag, so I think I will place it here. Brenda Woodward. Paul and Brenda were quite active. Brenda had joined the finance committee. I know she had had some illnesses, but she persevered. And at least from my standpoint, it was quite a shock when she died in February. So we will miss her, and we will miss all of the people that we recognize today. I'd like to open the floor to anyone who would like to share a thought or a memory, either about an individual person, whether it's a UU or a person who is not a UU. You can come up to the podium, or a mic could be brought to you, or if you're on Zoom, please write in the chat and someone will read your thought.
Hi, I'm Jane Lovejoy, and most of you know that I facilitate the orientation. And Phyllis Gillette would always come and give the history of UUCLC. She didn't hesitate. She wanted to do it, and at one point I videoed her while she did it, and then my phone broke. Or something happened and I lost the video. But I learned so much from her, and she was such a gracious person, and I really was sad to hear when she passed.
Just real quick, I had her write her spiel that she does for the orientation, and I have it as a little written document. I can share it with whomever. Oh, you have it too? Okay. Anybody else with some comments? Please, do you want the mic or do you want to come? No, but if you use the mic, the Zoomers will hear it.
You know, Brenda and Paul were very new here, and I liked both of them the minute that they came. They were both super people, but I didn't know Brenda very well. And Chris, you remember this. Chris and I went with Paul and Brenda down to Orlando to go to a Ramadan meal. And when we met at Brenda and Paul's house, And that's when I found out I needed to have a scarf to wear because you have to keep your head covered at all times in the mosque. And Brenda said, wait a minute. And she walked back into her bedroom and she came back with a pile of different scarves. And she said, choose one, whichever one you like the best. Of course I did, and it was beautiful, and everybody at the mosque wanted it because it was so great. But that did it for me. I mean, she had me at that point because I like, obviously, jewelry and clothing and things like that. And so did she. She always had beautiful jewelry, and she always was very careful about her appearance. But I always thought of her as being the scarf lady because of the way she saved me to go to the Ramadan meal.
I'm going to say something about a couple of the people. I really, whenever I used to think about going to church, my mind went immediately to Janine because she was such a vital part of our congregation. She did so many things, and she just kept it all together. Like you said, she's very calm. And when I talked to her about something one time personal, she too helped me to look at it from a good point of view, or she helped me to be more positive about it. She was an amazing woman, and we loved her dearly. And also Kit Tatum, I always think of her because she was the director at some point of the music, and she loved to sing, like Bill said. She was also a lovely, happy lady, and I just really loved her too. I loved a lot of other people, but I just knew those two better. Anybody else?
Val and Susie.
I've been there almost since the beginning, and I could say something personally about every single name that has been mentioned here today. Every single one. And every single one has a place in my heart. And we need to go back to having Kleenex on the chairs. They, and this is what I say, they are the winds that blow.
Val, back here.
When I was thinking about moving here 7 or 8 years ago, I wanted to see if there was a Unitarian church around because I had helped to found a Unitarian church in North Carolina and have been a Unitarian since I was 10 or 11 years old. So this church was here, and I came, and the Sunday that I came, Janine was the greeter. And I mentioned that I was thinking of moving to Lakeview Terrace, a retirement community in Altoona. And she said, oh, that's where I live. And so we got to talking, and it turned out that I did move to Lakeview Terrace, and Janine and Bernie live upstairs from me. So we became very good friends, and I miss her dearly.
Doug, is there anyone on Zoom? Doug has somebody on Zoom.
Hello, I have to speak to you from the screen back here. But this is from Dustin, our head AV, not present with us right now. He was saying that when he lived in Eustis, he was one of the main techs at Phoenix Computer Repair on Bay Street, and Janine Reagan was one of his frequent customers and always made small talk with him every time she came in. And one day she suggested I come to her church and see the AV booth and what technology they have, as it would be helpful and useful for, as she put it, a younger person helping us older folks. From there, you know who I am. The rest is history, and that's from Dustin.
Thank you, Dustin.
I'd like to add personally that I'm moved by all the people that have come and we've lost through the years. Some we know, as we've heard personal stories, and these are the people that we miss but we did get to know them to a certain extent. And I was also feeling how much I miss all the people that I didn't really get to know that well. It's a big loss. Thank you.
Denny loved my dog. He loved Bailey. When we go over and visit, which we did many times, he just couldn't keep her, his eyes off of her. And he was so loving and so sweet, and we had so many nice visits, and I just wished I could have visited more because it was a special time off of Pearl Lake. I love that lake, and I loved Denny very much, and it's so sad, but he certainly touched his congregation in many ways.
I second that. He was, did I say Bernie? Sorry, Bernie. Denny was special.
I'd like to offer a remembrance. My name's Peg. I'd like to offer remembrance for someone who's not here, but someone who was very important in my life. Her name was Elizabeth Adamson, and she was my next door neighbor. She was a very elderly lady, and she was from a wealthy Southern family. I was in a very bad place at the time. I was in a miserable marriage, and I was unhappy at work as well. And Elizabeth was someone who gave gifts of her time, her spirit. She taught me many things. On her birthday, she took all of her friends, including me, out to lunch. She taught me generosity. And every day I miss her and I remember all of the things that she taught me. So thank you.
Since Brian and I'm Kathleen, we're newbies to UU, could someone who knew Ruth Gray talk about her for a moment?
Oh, a big question.
She wants to hear about Ruth Gray.
Oh, that's tough. Ruth Gray was the founder of this organization. We could debate about that because there are a couple of people here who are active in forming this faith group, but Ruth is my foundation. I knew her through her other activities, through the Conservation Council, and as she got to know me over the years, she insisted that I needed to join this group because I had kids, and we needed young people. And so over and over and over again, she said, please come, please come, please come. And so we started coming to this group. Ruth was a pioneer lawyer. I don't know if she's the first woman licensed in New Jersey as a lawyer.
Plainfield,
Yeah.
New Jersey.
Yeah, she was the first.
She had a tremendous career. And then, like many people who are here today and are on this list, after a full life, came to this area and then continued to contribute to building this community. She had some very strong views about independent thought and trying to be a pioneer in building a welcoming community here in this area. And it was kind of interesting because I went down to Howie yesterday, and I went by this little church that Ruth just loved. It's on the side of the road on 19, and she always wanted that to be our home. Tiny little building. It's decrepit. It's practically abandoned right there just before you go over the Howie Bridge. And I couldn't help but think of her because she said that so many times. I just love that building.
In Oklahoma?
No, on the way to Howie, right before the Howie Bridge.
Yeah, that's a congregational church.
Isn't that Oklahoma?
No, Oklahoma is further to the west.
Okay.
But anyway, Ruth, through dogged insistence, built a philosophy group and then kept everybody interested in joining this group, and then got us in the women's club, and we just really found a great home there, and built this community as far as I'm concerned. And I was shocked when she made a contribution. Late in her life, I was helping her cope with stuff in her house. Ever went to her house? It was so completely overgrown that you couldn't spot the house on Lake Joanna. There's no way. You had to know exactly where you were going to get there. And I spent a lot of time in her house helping her with stuff towards the end. And I was shocked at the size of her contribution to make this happen. And so all of us got to work to try to make this beautiful building happen. We're so grateful that she did. As I have told people on this list, I've contributed so much to my life and the development of my kids who were active in this group. And Elizabeth, as you know, is very busy. It doesn't come up often. But thank you to all those who helped us and to continue. And I invite everybody to please contribute to this great community because we need you.
I imagine we could go on and on. The last one? Yeah, okay.
Church ancestors.
All right, the closing.
We're not closing yet, quite yet. We still
But
have
the
to-
closing reading?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a reading from Alice Anacheka Naisman. It's called Honoring Church Ancestors. Let us take a moment to honor the ancestors of this church, the people who first came together to create a home for liberal religion here in Eustis, of all places, who worked to raise money for a building, who sat in committee meetings and created bylaws, who chopped and marinated and baked for potlucks, who painted and weeded and pounded nails and washed countless dishes, who gathered to worship, to learn, to grieve, to heal, to serve, to build justice, to transform lives and this world. We are the recipients of an incredible gift and a beautiful vision. Let us do our part to keep this congregation strong, vital, and thriving for the generations to come.
Now please stand as you are able for our closing hymn, number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.